Hey, everybody, welcome back once again to another edition of Printing's Alive with me, your host, Warren Werbitt. Today, we have a super duper guest because all my guests are just wonderful and marvelous, or they wouldn't be here. We have Jason Leonard from Nina Paper. How you doing, Jason?
I am wonderful, Warren. How are you doing?
I could not be better now that I have you here. Otherwise, I'm pretty good in general.
I'm flattered. I'm blushing. I'm embarrassed. And I
For
think you're a
what?
liar.
On which part? All of it or none of it?
Take a pick.
Yeah, actually, I know I'm miserable. Everything's bad. I'm miserable, and I just can't wipe the smile off my face.
Somebody told me the other day, you're not miserable. You're just, well, jaded. It stuck with
Yeah,
me. Still don't know what to think of that.
yeah. Jaded actually is not a bad one to describe sometimes how one is, right?
That's the
I
way
mean,
I felt
the
about it.
world's a funny place these days, right? So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you're doing, where you're doing it. Just everything makes you pause and go like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, very much so. That was jaded, I was called. And then, another one that I was called that really made me question was King of the Nerds. Still unsure. I think it's a compliment.
I wouldn't put you in King of the Nerds though.
I don't know.
Like that's not a jaded's not bad. It's not negative. Just means you slightly shaded.
Okay, that's fair.
Right? And we
Yeah.
do deal with a lot of color and screens, so shading makes sense, especially
Okay.
if you're using some embellishments and backdrops and whatnot. But before we get into whatever we're going to get into, because we don't know what we're going to get into, just give my 2 million viewers a little lowdown on who you are and what you do.
Sure. So as we covered, I'm Jason. I'm with Nina Paper. Been with Nina Paper about 8 years, but my life's been print. I learned to print when I was 5. My dad had a custom black and white darkroom. I left, the family business and worked for Ritz Camera, which rolled into Agfa Photo. I was a technologist and an R&D for developing optical print technology. Moved into inkjet for large format printers. Moved into the commercial print space from there. Developed wide format print shops in commercial print facilities, and then moved to Nina, where I basically work with all of the OEMs, partners, stay on top of technology so that we're engineering paper for new technology. People usually are shocked when you think about paper and that we actually have PhD scientists and R&D that are constantly developing. Well, I'm the one that's dictating or looking at what we need to be engineering for. I'm also the lucky guy that gets to visit all of our customers, which I love, and do troubleshooting and engineering, and people want to do something that's never been done before. That's my favorite thing that happens, and I get to go and figure out how to do cool shit with people. That's me in a nutshell.
In the meantime, that sounds pretty good because just the going out and seeing customers or seeing people, seeing things are done, new things, just keeps you alive and fresh.
Yeah,
Right?
Warren, when I started at Nina, I was hesitant because it's paper, which is cool and everything. I don't come from a paper background. And one of the things that I told them was, I want to make this move, but I need to be with hands-on at a printer 2 to 4 times a month. Have to be, not only to stay knowledgeable, but just to work my own brain. I can't give that up. I've been doing it for 25 years, and they've lived up to it. I have at least 4 times a month have my hands on a printer.
If you're not on the street with the people using what you sell, then you can't really know what works or doesn't work.
Totally.
Right? It's so tell me about paper a little bit. So I remember, a few years back, maybe pre-COVID, we were buying quality coated papers from Sappy. Always like Sappy, runs through the machine well. When we would try to sell our customers uncoated stock for marketing pieces, brochures, whatever, and it was expensive paper always, the premium uncoated, we always had a hard time selling the paper. And most of our best orders came from the client or the agency, or if the agency designer was involved. I would suggest your best paper, and the client would throw me out laughing at me like I'm a moron and price and whatever. And then the designer agency would recommend the same thing, and they were like God's gift to the world. Today, from what I see, from what I hear, I know on the coated, people are just ordering coated. No one even knows a brand name anymore. Printers are trying to buy what works best for them, runs through the press, but the lowest price per ton, pound, whatever it is. How are you moving your better, finer papers?
Sure. I mean, that's That's a lot to unwrap there. That's kind of a summation of
Well, sorry, it did turn into a bit of a run on something because my brain was not going, but
I love it. I love it. Basically, I'm just gonna brain dump here with my daily life. So first, when we talk about the value of an uncoated paper, and yes, uncoated paper, premium product, saw a lot of changes during COVID. We saw smaller quantities of things being produced with a demand for a higher value, all of that, which we all know. But one of the key things, like when you were talking about, you would have a print job and then you would try to sell your customer our paper. That, I feel, is, I don't want to say a misstep, but perhaps not the best approach, because you're not a la carte selling your ink, design, paper, finishing. You're selling a finished product, and that's what's key to understanding, that premium selling, mentality is it's all put together, and then it's the impact that leaves. I was at a show last week, and John Taffer, the guy from Bar Rescue, was the keynote. I was like,
cool.
But I listened to him, and he said something that really stuck because it promoted what I'm always telling people in a new way, which was when he brings out a new drink that's flaming on fire or lava or whatever, or a new food that's piles of shells and all kinds of cool stuff. He's not selling a food dish, but he's selling a reaction. So when you're talking about things like uncoated paper, you're selling that reaction when you put it into your customer or potential customer's hand. So right now we're seeing, I think we'll all agree, your shirt agrees, we are seeing a huge boost in embellished, interest from people doing things like, huge by comparison to itself.
No, me being the printer, and I love the embellishment, but the big push for the embellishment is coming from the manufacturers first.
Agreed.
They're creating the fireworks, and will the rest of the story follow for everyone? Time will tell, but the big push is coming from them.
Right. Well, let's assume the interest is gone up several 100% across the board.
Fair enough.
The way that I am utilizing that is, I love embellishment. It's cool. A lot of it's done kind of casino-esque and over the top. But the way that I'm looking at that is, let's think about paper like we would a foil. Let's say you have a slightly off-white tech weave texture. Is that not an embellishment in itself? So people are pretty comfortable talking about embellishments, but they're not so comfortable talking about paper because, like you stated, I'm afraid they're going to say no because of the cost. But what I scratch my head over is, with the added value of a completed print job, the price difference on the paper is fairly inconsequential on a higher value premium job. So a lot of it's just the way it's presented, education. Uncoated kind of has that unfair cost rep.
It's definitely about education. I think the education starts at the print companies. When we had a sales team, most of my team, I don't even like to say it, but they had no clue as to what was going on. I don't even think they were interested. So if they're not interested, it's hard to teach. Right. But from then to now, there's been big changes going on. And I actually think it's more important that salespeople are aware of paper and what goes on, because they're on the front line. And if they're aware of paper, it just gives them another avenue to knock on a door and talk about something other than, do you have something to quote for me? Is there a project I could look at? Because if you're good with your customers, you don't need to remind them to call you when they have something. They will, right? But what better way to stay on top of it is by going in with all different things that you're doing or showing. Even if you don't like it, show it anyways.
You should be showing a finished product. You need to be showing a full, completed product that you're selling. Again, going back to that a la carte, to show something, to put together pricing, and then say, if you wanted to upgrade to an uncoated paper with no visual, no understanding of that has, that's where I think a lot of people go awry.
Right. No, you definitely have to show a sample. If you're doing a sheet, you could take, if you're doing something digital, you could get sample sheets even from the merchant and get 10 sheets and put 2 through the machine just to give a glimpse of what it is, to get them excited. But not a lot of people do that.
Not enough.
I'm super frustrated. I'm on the print side. I'm super frustrated these days with print owners who just don't do enough or don't do anything to help themselves, their company, but particularly the people working in the company who they put a lot of pressure on to succeed. Right? It's like you're not practice what you preach, and you don't show the show and tell's not there. And I don't know what the solution is for that. I kind of wonder all the time, right?
That's a big question. The apathy of almost any industry when it slips into a comfort rut. But I mean, I think I'm seeing things crop up with new mentalities, new ideas, more enthusiasm, where we're starting to see more people embrace the finer side of things.
So, ask an age question. With all the people you see and the good change that's happening, is it happening with the older owners that are still there, or is it happening with new generation of owner or younger people within those businesses? What is the change?
Well, absolutely, it's a transition. Whether that's a next generation, a hand down on the business to a younger group, whether it's an owner that's letting go of the reins a little bit, to adapt. I think, yeah, there's absolutely a correlation to age. I think that buyers and our customers are younger, but I don't think we've transitioned at the same pace as our customers. So we still are an older generation industry that's servicing a very young generation, and they don't align.
So I've said this maybe on every podcast where it's kind of come up with young and old, and I bring up the old a lot. Not that I'm so young, but I could hang out with the youngins till the end and have the last drink with them. But
Me too.
that's why we get along.
That's right.
But the elders aren't doing enough quick enough. And first of all, I always say that in every company it starts with the leadership, and that's the top of the company. So if the top of the company is not going to go out there and push good things down, no one's going to follow. But we talk about age, we talk about young people coming in, we talk about young buyers. But with all the talk, why are the elders or anyone older than the youngins so bloody thick to not do what they should? And I'm going to give you the perfect example. LinkedIn, right? I was dealing with a company. Names aren't important because I'm really not out to knock anybody. I just want everybody to learn. And I go in, and it's a room full of older salespeople. And before I went to see them, I went onto every single one of their LinkedIn pages. And I was like this: oh my God. Oh my God. Why oh my God? Because they're not filled out, or they haven't posted anything, or they don't have a picture, or the picture they have is so awful, right? And part of when you deal with someone, it's about your first impression, because everyone sizes somebody up rather quickly the first go around if they make the first cut to continue the conversation. And if people talk about knowing that they're dealing with young people, why are they not making the change to spruce it up? Because what does every salesperson, man or woman, do or supposed to do? Prospective client. You go on and you LinkedIn them. You check them out. You check out the company website. You Google their name to see what else comes up. But now, don't salespeople think right away that the people they're calling on are doing the exact same thing? So why wouldn't they spruce up their LinkedIn to look live and well? And if you're that old, have your kid do it for you. It doesn't take much to do a posting on anything just to keep it alive, right? Hit the verify button. But more importantly, then you have the contact information section. And I go to contact information, and I cannot believe how many people don't have the company website, the address. Forget your cell phone number, the company phone number. But I put my cell phone because my life is my cell phone. And they have none of that. So when the young buyer that they just left goes onto their LinkedIn to look at them and go, or for an email, instead of a company email, they have a Gmail email. Right away, I think the person's looking for a job, because why wouldn't you have your company email? But if you don't have that simple thing, you've just killed yourself at the beginning of the sale before you've gotten anywhere. But how stupid are people? They know who they're dealing with. They know how they're thinking.
Sure.
Why?
I mean, the LinkedIn example is, I think, one.
But it's the easiest.
It is it. I mean, it is. But how many times have you also sat in a meeting with a business owner, a general manager, a couple of prospective customers, and even just the message being told by a business owner, the name dropping, the stories from 1976, I was this, I was that, I was this, I was that, when I did this, I knew that person. I mean, I look at that almost as the same as what you're talking about with
Yeah,
data.
for sure.
It's the LinkedIn, it's the way you talk to people, it's even the way your lobby looks, the way that you treat your business. I mean, let me ask you, I got a question, because this came up recently, and honestly, it just crushed me. I was sitting in on something where we were talking about mentorship, and I was asked if I could do a mentorship for somebody, and I was kind of weighing it out. And I'm listening to people talk, and they're saying, how can we take these millennials and Gen Zs and make them like we were?
We don't want them like we were.
How can we make them want to come into work at 8? Well, that's what I said. I said to them,
I want to know the name of the person that said, "How could we make them like us?" Because I'm not going to shred that.
I'm not going to say it. But hold on, I represented, because I had to say, I said, do you want to put any? I mean, I think we're probably close to the same age, so we probably grew up in the same environment. Do you want to make your kids have to do what we had to do to find some level of success? Do you want to change a generation to be like us, opposed to how can we adapt to support that creativity? I told you, I was a lot crushed when I heard this.
I don't even have to say what you said about, do you want our kids like blah, blah, blah. The bottom line is life and history. Every generation changes from what was before. Nothing should be the same as before. And anyone who said that is living in the ice age. And I'm surprised, if they own the company, I'm surprised anyone's working for them.
I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more.
It completely freaks me out. Like, I say to people, I go, you ever hang out with your kids and their friends? Do you ever just sit around and not say a word and just listen to them talk or what they talk about? I mean, I used to be the guy that when I was carpooling and picking them up until they were driving or later or whenever, there was other parents who were like, oh my God, it's so late. I'm like, how old are you? I'm happy to pick. I said, you know what? To all of them, I'll pick the kids up every time, every night, wherever they go. Why?
Right.
A, gives me more time with my kid, right? B, I'm not even going to talk in the car. I'm going to drive like a chauffeur and let them talk. And I'm going to hear everything they're saying. And I'm going to fit in, and I'll throw in the odd joke, right? And then when they got to be like 15, 16, and I was picking them up, I'm saying, hey, who wants a burger? It's midnight. I mean, I don't know about you, but it was always a stop for fast food on the way home after a night of partying.
Absolutely. I mean, I got to say, I'm the guy who loaded up the Gatorade and the Tums and everything else in the back of the car when I had to go pick up the kids after, the post graduation party. And yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think we also share the fact we're both recent grandparents. Am I correct?
Yeah, I'm 12 weeks.
I'm 8
4 months.
weeks.
How many? 9?
8. 8 weeks. In fact,
so I just started getting smiles, and oh my God, I never would have thought I would have liked it so much. And I go down every day. They live around the corner actually, and I go because I pick up Wally the retriever and take him for the day. Gives me exercise, great. So I get to see Annie and Jesse and little Reed in the morning, and at the end of the day, there's nothing better. Right?
It's amazing. They actually live here with us, so
cool.
They'll come out, and he's Cassian. He's quite the sweet little boy.
But when I look, I'm thinking, okay. At one point, I was like, I don't know if I'd bring kids into the world anymore, right? Just with what's on. All of a sudden, he's here, and I'm thinking, okay, what can we do to help change the world? I have to change my speak and start thinking. And then when I look back in our businesses, I'm blown away. I'm blown away on so many fronts. This industry is not a young industry, right? A lot of smart people, but a lot of stupid decisions. Why?
Agreed. It's it's concerning. I have seen, I think, a boost in younger people moving into the industry, in some capacity. We saw it with design. I think that's really diminished with AI. But in I'm seeing people in the paper business. That of course is a concern. Paper manufacturing. I mean, when was the last time you heard a kid when he was 8 go, "I want to be a paper manufacturer when I grow up"? I don't think that happens. It's super cool and everything, but it's I don't want to call it a lost art form, but it's I was shocked when I joined Nina and became a paper manufacturer over what it actually takes to make paper. I had the assumption it was more kind of just ran press buttons, but the amount of organic adaptation that
the amount of water needed.
Yes, the amount of water, the balance, so much of it is like that skill set. So Nina's been actually excellent in recruiting and bringing in new generation to learn, and understanding that it's not a 3-week training program and boom, but it's years. So we've got younger people that are moving into the space.
Yeah, but even in the rest of the industry, like if you take first of all, like the OEMs, a lot of the salespeople, some of them are kicking the can a little bit too long. They got to make some changes there. And again, I don't want to disrespect anybody. I love everybody, just so no one takes it the wrong way. I'm getting older, but I look good. It's hard to tell my age.
You look great.
Thank you. But we have to acknowledge what's going on and who we're working with, right? And who we're selling and who's selling who, because it's important for people to connect. If you don't have that connection, you're not going to build that relationship. But in terms of training or young people, I said the other day, like, everyone's kind of pushing digital a little because the pressmen are getting older and they say it's harder to find. I'm saying I don't disagree, but maybe you bring in a younger person and the pressman is now the mentor to the younger person. So you're investing in education that costs you a little more. You have AI that could assist you in the learning. So now you're making it a little more fun for the young person. If you're on a new offset press, you've got that screen at the front of the press that looks like a video game, right? So you could put
new offset press?
Yeah, plenty of them.
Oh yeah, they're just popping up like daisies.
All right, don't be like that. Because you know what? Those offset presses, you can make a hell of a lot of money. And when you own it, you make a ton of money. And the digital presses, you're always paying those damn OEMs again and again and again.
You are correct. Absolutely.
And I never had as much uptime on an offset press.
Agreed. Totally agreed.
Downtime on a digital press. Nobody talks about all that and how much you lose when you wait for them to come days and weeks because they're not near you. But offset is consistent.
It is consistent.
In any case, I'm not looking to fight with you, but maybe a little. But the equipment is changing. The folders, big or small, 250 preset sizes in them. You're not folding paper anymore to put them in the clamps to get your thickness of paper to adjust, right? The offset presses have ink canisters. The digital presses have lots of buttons, lots of screens. It's not like it was. You don't have to go home with black hands anymore or dirty hands. So a lot of shops I see are looking really good. And, you're not walking in and, envelope boxes aren't half full, leaning over like the Tower of Pisa in a corner. People put away and they clean up right away. So it's how you want to dress it up. Although I will tell you, oh my God, I'm still reeling from it. And if you just saw the last podcast the other night, I'm even embarrassed to say this, but it's like late at night, 11 o'clock, I'm watching YouTube and short attention span. So I just watch a lot of short stuff. And up comes a video on a print company. And I'm looking at it and I'm like doing this. Anyways, I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, I go into the description and it's from 2015. And I said, oh my God, thank God I feel better now. Because at least I know it's like 12 years old or 13 years old. 12, maybe 10, 11. I can't count anymore. And then I flip on another one and I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my God, this is bad. Oh my God, this is bad. I better go to the description. I got to pray that it's old. Older than the other one. It's not old. It's put up 2 weeks ago.
Oh boy. Ouch.
Okay? And I'm going to probably put it up on LinkedIn with a little critique. Again, not to be mean, but he did put it out there, so it's public. The whole video was the shop. Not one person. Equipment. Speeds. Not even that fast. It was old. Dirty shop. Messy shop.
Right.
Calling the equipment by name and model number. What customer gives a rat's ass?
Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about.
I know equipment. I used to buy equipment.
Right.
I don't give a rat's ass to
Right.
listen to that pitch. Now, 5 minutes and 3 seconds. I made it to the end just so I could be more angrier, or I could be in a worse mood at the end. I can't even
Right.
speak
Right.
English. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so what do you do? And then the editing of it, I mean, I don't know who they used for an editor. It must have been a really old editor to cut it up and chop it up. So what do I say to owners today? You want to get engagement with your young people. You want to help them get into the mix. Bring them in and engage with them and have them do some of your social media. Have them do it their way. Have them on the press, in the room, in the folding, playing with the ink with their fingers if they want, toner blowing in the air, whatever. Let them do it their way because they are going to attract their peers. When we talked about you mentioned before about the person saying how they're going to learn our way. Well, our way, their way, not my way, the old way isn't working. Why do you want to teach more people the old way? And we need to listen to what some of these people are saying, the younger ones.
Absolutely do. They speak the voice of the customers. And as far as the social media and the equipment, and couldn't agree more. I mean, it's people. People are the key to the social media interest as a company. And I was a printer for what, 15 years or so, and I was a director of marketing for a large print shop down here amongst other roles as well. And I mean, we even at that point identified that it was people. I mean, we did we'd make props and just walk around and hand a prop to a CSR and tell us about yourself. You know, what kind of pet do you have? What's your favorite food? Give us a funny story. Whatever. And we saw so much more success. I mean, even now I look through and I even question now, like the pre-made, professionally created GIFs, whatever you want to call them, that we see. Did those even have a purpose now versus somebody that's doing something about themselves? Like for me, I mean, it's the bird who you met a few minutes ago. I mean, if he's not to say that I'm pimping out my bird, but if he's over his shoulder on a video, it gets tens of thousands of impressions. But that's meeting me, and I'm hoping I'm giving knowledge to the industry and helping the industry. But yet he's a bit of a hook. He's part of me. I'm a pirate.
So he's a great beginning hook, but if when you start talking, it's not engaging for the others, the hook is irrelevant.
Correct.
Right? So
absolutely.
So so everyone has to manage. You could have a hook, but you have to think about what you're going to say, talk, or show.
For sure. Absolutely. Right? Yeah.
All these printers that print and don't produce samples or don't drop things off, right? To show. Again, I said it before. If you're making all those samples, you're doing a couple things. You're allowing the customer to see more of what you do. From an internal aspect, you are keeping your salespeople busy because you're giving them things to do. You're not telling them to go out and then, salespeople have some good accounts that they ride. Most are not really good at picking up new accounts or calling or doing whatever they do. So they go for lunches and they sit in their car and they talk to their friends a good part of the day because they don't want to be in the office. Because if they're in the office, they're asked questions, right? So What do? You make samples, you make new things, you have them go out and show people. All of a sudden, they're going to show people, they're bringing something that isn't a donut and they're going in and showing, and then they get to watch people's reactions when they touch it, look, see, do. That's one area that I think we really suffer.
It's I question often how do you sell in this environment? If I was still selling print, it's not that far from, I don't sell paper, but I work with a big team of people that do. It is hard to get away from the milk run, if you will, and to find new business to captivate an audience. I mean, I do think that you said earlier that the manufacturers are promoting the embellishment, they're driving they're the big part of the market. But at the same time, I think trickle down here. I'm a commercial print sales rep. I've got design firms I've been working with for a long time, and I got to get in and see them. The old-fashioned milk run went away with the COVID years, and I need something to go in to captivate them with what's relevant to their business. So I think that there's a better connection that can be done with the OEMs driving things like embellishments to the printers to be able to sharing and using that as a way of educating what can be done to, for the finished customer. It seems tough to me to be a print sales rep in this current environment.
I don't know. I think the more people talk like that, the harder it does become, because there's a negative spin on it, like anything else. I think if you talk positive and you're an upbeat person, like anything else, you're going to go out, you're going to find the people, you're going to talk, right? If you're not an outgoing person, you probably shouldn't be in sales anyways. But you have to have reason to talk. You have to have reason to show. So if, you have new things, new ideas, you could drop off a sample, you could send an email. People will just learn to appreciate you more because you're doing it.
Yeah. And that's really my point. My point exactly is where it used to be you would go in and collect jobs. Okay, what do you have coming up in the next 2 months? Your agency would tell you what you had. You'd know those jobs were coming in. That's not the way it works anymore. So my point is, in being a sales rep, is you've got to leverage the new tools that you have to drive demand and interest to win jobs. And my bigger message is paper needs to be considered like that embellishment form as a way to differentiate and separate yourself from all those other people getting bids, all those people looking at it, and a reason to go in and talk to the agencies, to talk to the brands. We need to be thinking about it a little differently. You're not going in and picking up jobs. You're going in and educating and showing new processes. And there's no shortage of new technology right now in the industry.
A lot of mindset. I remember we used to quote for some agencies some pretty big jobs, and I would always ask after, if I'm losing the job, why did I lose it? You don't have to give it to me, but was it paper? Was it price? Was it delivery? I said, I just need to know to put in the bag. And sometimes it's price and it's because of paper. And I'd say, okay, what paper did they quote you? And then they tell me. And I go, well, let me explain to you why I use this paper. I use this paper because you got a 96% bright white. The other one, you got 84. And look at all the color. You've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on photography and design and time, and you're going to chintz out for a few $1,000s at the end. You show them, but you almost make them go, oh my God, what am I doing? And there's not enough salespeople that are going to do that either.
Totally agree. The one thing that I question, though, 10 years, 20 years ago versus now, is why do we feel the need to break apart the product to the buyer and say, well, the paper was 10% more? You're selling a finished product. And to your point, the color of the artwork, the inks, you're using maybe 6 colors, whatever you're doing, that's all part of a finished product. Why are we breaking it apart in an a la carte sort of way and saying,
but you shouldn't have to.
I agree, you shouldn't have to. And I don't know that we do as much now as we used to.
When we were doing digital offset, whatever, and great bird, by the way. What's his name?
His name's Alejandro.
Great.
He's a little yelly right now. He is going on 8.
Because they outlive humans, no?
Oh, yes. He'll live to, well, normally I think they live 60 or 70, but with his diet of French fries and cheese, he's probably not going to make it that long.
That's pretty good.
He's here for a good time, not a long time.
I say that all the time. We're on this planet for a short time. Let's make it a good time, and I'll rest when I'm dead.
Exactly.
No time to for the week. But yeah, it's really there's so much out there, and then now we have all the embellishment happening, which big push. It started. Well, it actually started. I remember in 2015, I bought the first iGen 5 with the 3 extra colors, orange, blue, and green. For the life of me, couldn't sell one extra color at one extra penny.
You had to get Pepsi as a customer.
Or ING for the orange. Yeah. But the quality of the work in the print was amazing. And the samples that we would make were wicked. That would actually get us in and people would see us. Of course, when it came time to printing, their stuff would never come out as nice because they didn't want to pay for the extra colors and the layering of everything. But there's great stuff out there. And today, the beautiful thing with the digital is, back then, I used to say, buy what you need, quantity-wise. But back then, everyone would say, give me a price for 135. And if they needed 1, they would buy the 3. the buyer to get the unit price. He or she never thought about what was going to get thrown out after and what was left, because they ended up paying way more, than if they just bought what they needed. Today with the digital, it allows customers to buy what they need. But because you get to do that, you should be ramping up what you're doing and use some of the finishing that's available, when you can.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the direction we're going. It's smaller runs, more critical, higher impact is
Top
the
dollar.
demand. And I mean, it shows too, like in our business. I mean, there's no doubt that commercial print and paper is in a secular decline. I think it's to the tune of, don't quote me, this is just me, but I think it's 10 to 12% annually in a decline. As a paper manufacturer, we're outpacing that decline. We're doing substantially better than the secular decline of the industry, which tells me that it's validating that people are looking for a better finished product. Whether that's the tactile effect of a paper, whether that's an embellishment, whether it's, I think, that kind of the king of all the specialties, the variable data, combine them, variable data, foil, embellishment. That there's a big demand for this stuff now, and that's what print sales reps really need to be educated on.
I'll give a plug to Kevin at Tactful, and then I'll give a shot to the OEMs. But I mean, Kevin is Mr. Embellishment. I mean, it started with his family, and then he doesn't have ink. He's got like a UV coating flowing through his
varnish blood.
Varnish coating. But, conversation came up the other day. We were talking about Mark Jeeves and Color Logic and Touch 7, and, how you have you could do 1,000 shades in the gamut with his software. And the conversation the other day was, why doesn't every OEM just put his software right in, pay the I'm going to make up a number, but it's not much more or less, pay the $1,500 a year for the licensing fee, put it on the customer for year 2, advise him. If he doesn't need it after year 2, he can cancel the license and not use it, but chances are that's not going to happen. $1,500 is really like just chicken shit nothing. But the OEMs don't do that. Some push his software, some don't. If they did that, why do they put it on the print owner after he'd done the buy to go spend his time and money looking for additional software or whatever it might be? They should be working to build their relationships with the partner, bundle it in whatever way. I think they need to do the same thing with Tactful and put in whatever they need to put in on every sale. It doesn't matter in the big picture. People are making thousands of dollars of mistakes every day. They don't even know because they haven't found them in their shop because they haven't thought about it, right? But you put in Tactful, you work it into the price, whatever it is, and you don't feel it. And then right away, even before the machine comes in, Tactful gets to start talking to you about your business plan, your marketing plan, how you're going to do things, the samples that you want to make to have, because the minute you're putting in anything like that, you need to be doing your own work, your own samples.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I love Tactful, obviously. I'm on their advisory council. I just launched their Tactful XL wide format wing of Tactful. I think they got something great going on, and I see it, as an education. I mean, what they do if they move into a situation where they're bundling, I don't know. I would ask, I bought a air fryer recently and opened up the box. How many free things did it come with? I'm opening it up and it's like, here's a free subscription to recipes. Here's a free meal plan. It's like, so I do question sometimes, like, even when you buy a new piece of equipment and it comes with a temporary license on a RIP, I don't know if that's the appropriate way to get it ingrained into somebody's business model on their day-to-day. I do think the educational aspect of having a consultant come in and show them the options and how to tie them all together. I do a lot of technical support across our customer base, and I don't just work on defective paper. I do profiling, I do handling operations, even things where people are doing something wrong across, whether it be an indigo or an inkjet or an offset press. And the amount of disjointed front ends that I see in all of these businesses, whether it's wide format or commercial, is immense. I mean, different ways of doing things, different softwares, different patches. I still see things like hot folders and things being dropped. So I love the concept of more collaboration. I just don't see it happening short of like a all-inclusive cloud-based process.
And why wouldn't it happen?
Because there's too many people with too many interests involved to unify that. I mean, even let's step back, and I talk all the time about the three legs of the stool, you know, the front end, the printer, and the paper. Three things that you need to produce a print job. We're kind of talking right now about, you know, that front end and the software, but even the paper. Let's talk about the OEMs. And I love their kind of new initiative to approve papers and support and endorse papers. But that's been a long time coming, and it's still not existent across all. So I mean, there's a lot of collaboration that needs to happen. I view that as our responsibility as people that have a voice in the industry that can educate. It's part of what we do.
I remember having equipment, digital, and you know, they would be the recommended papers, and some had to be coated before, some not, this and that, whatever. And then I would call up the rep and say, listen, I just heard this other guy's using this paper, and it's not. He goes, yeah, you can use it.
Right.
What do you mean I could use it? It's not in the thing. Why are you telling me? So you tell me to use it, I have a problem, and then the company says to me after, oh, you use that paper, you're done?
Or the other way around until it doesn't work, and then they say you can't use it.
Right.
So we need hard facts. We need libraries. We need, you know, and like I said, in the digital space, we're going in that direction. And the partnerships are amazing that I have. I mean, I've been thrilled. I work with almost all of them. Maybe that's because I give away a lot of free paper. And, you know, when you're selling a printer or a press, whatever you want to call it, there's no way to make it look better than to print it on Nina paper. So we do a lot in that cross-marketing space with all of the different.
And the OEMs pay you for any of the paper?
Oh no, I wouldn't take it if they wanted to, because what the way that the conversation usually goes is, you know, what we'd like to do. You know, someone will call me up, and you know, they want to do a promo cross campaign promoting their ability to print direct to an offset sheet or something. And so say, absolutely, what kind of paper? We'll verify that, you know, I feel that comfortable that it's going to function. And then what I usually ask in return is that we do a collaboration where we both get pieces, both names are in there, and then we'll put it in our sample department for our sales team. But where it's really beneficial to me is their sales team will now use that to sell a machine on our paper at the same time selling our paper. So back to the original part of the conversation, you can't tell me a paper isn't approved, supported, and endorsed when the very sample piece that came to you was printed on it. So that's been really successful for me as a way of promoting Nina paper. I do think that we are viewed, this could be just me, I don't have any proof, but I think we're viewed kind of as a leader in the digital uncoated paper space. You know, people do tend to think of us across all the digital.
Well, who's the competition? There is none.
Sure, there's other uncoated papers. Yeah, but I agree with you. There's no competition. There's other companies. There's no competition. But I mean, I think more important than beating our competition, I don't care about competition. I want competition.
Well, it's good for everybody.
The more people out there promoting uncoated and doing things better, the best. Our competition is losing the market share of uncoated papers when people migrate to digital print. That's what keeps me up at night, is people will put in KM1s or Indigos or iridescents, whatever it is, and they stop thinking the way that they used to think with offset, that they can run the uncoateds, they can run the textures. So if anything, what I evangelize every day is think like you used to. Put the uncoateds, put the colors, put the textures through your digital printers. Don't lose that ability. That's my competition.
Well, and they should have like templates set up for making their own samples on the different papers that show the elements. And you know, I used to tell people, like, you know, I'm working with my vendors all the time, and I wasn't asking my vendors for free for anything, because if you take it for free, then you create this expectation in the relationship. And who needs more expectation in this world? So you pay, they're happy, you do it together, the piece is nice. If you could sell it after, great. but at least everyone got paid for what they did, and the end result is a marketing piece that you got to pay for anyways. So it's always a win-win. It's when we did when I had the iGen, we did a sample book. I know, you know what, I've seen Bennett Graphics do it with their Indigo, but what we did was we took a 1420 sheet, and it was, I think it was 16 pages, 18 pages, all different paper weights, but all full size, all run through the iGen, spiral bound. At the time it was offline, but MGI were using an outside supplier for the MG. We were varnishing and texturing with the varnishes and something different on every page, where honestly, even if you don't like paper and shit, you're sitting there and you're going, holy moly, because the shit's jumping off you. We had a uncoated paper on one side on a coated, like with the same image, and from here,
Sure.
tell me which one's coated, tell me which one isn't. Can't tell. But you give people reason to keep looking, big enough that they could touch and feel. You put a scent on there, right? You
Yeah,
put
sure.
we had a bubble gum machine, so where you turn the dial for the bubble gum, there's a silver metal behind it that's like rough graded.
Yeah,
So we copied that.
sure.
The last sheet was, I think, 24 point with a die cut sheet that you just pop out, and you with the double face tape, and it's a popcorn box. And the second to last page was popcorn printed on a paper, but looked really yummy. I mean, you weren't going
Nice.
to take it off and put it in the box, but it was just for the idea. Not a lot of thought going into things out there today. And some of the better companies out there, which unfortunately don't get talked about enough, they're the ones making samples. They're the ones sending things out. They're the ones inviting their customers over or sending them something that they should, look at. It's communication, and we are in the communication business.
Totally.
So
The
how do we
reaction business.
okay, reactions better.
I
How do we get people? How do we get people to open up a little more, see a little more?
mean, collaboration. That's all I got. That's the key to the world.
I'm the print shows come up, and everyone's, wow, the print show, wow. I say, shut up, fuck the print show. The print show you got to go to, and I say it all the time. Why do you go? A couple reasons. Number one, more people to go, the bigger our industry is, because everything's about statistics and who shows up. Even if they are double scanning you at the door to increase the attendance for the next sale, you're seeing your old friends, you're seeing new friends, but most importantly, getting out of the office, and you're seeing things that will give you ideas.
Yeah, that's to me the shows. I love the small shows that are OEM specific. I love the VIP events that some of the OEMs do, and I love the Printing United. They all have a different purpose, but I think if you took away the shows, everything that we were just talking about, and how are we all working together to push in the right direction to benefit a brand, goes away. The best partnerships that I've established have been solidified face to face at the shows. So when you're talking, and it's not on the show floor. The show floor, basically wandering, making my feet hurt, and taking pictures of the people. It's that night at the bar with a drink, a few drinks in, and you're having conversations with people. Those are the best partnerships. I've built my career off of those shows, basically, in sitting down and having conversations and doing these partnerships and collaborations. People that make a big difference. So shows are cool.
I had to build a relationship with my liver doctor after all those shows. Just
Well,
to make
yes.
sure I live long enough to go back and have some more. But no, those are the best. And then someone's sitting there and introduces you to someone you just don't know. But about the shows, to me, the most important thing is it's a business owner's opportunity to engage with younger people in his business by bringing a couple of them, one of them, two of them. The cost is not big, but when you show that you're investing in them, when you show that you know who they are, you're but you call them by name, not by number. You're having dinner with them. You're sitting with your vendors. They're going to go back excited, and we need them with the fire under their ass to talk print.
Or I'm going to be the devil's advocate here, because I've seen this and it's awful. Or they're going to walk the show and they're going to get ignored because the people that are in the booths are only interested in customers that are coming in with the checkbook or have an interest in purchasing that they want to deal with. Then you have two Clemson students or Cal Poly students that walk into the booth, and two people sit there and continue to have a conversation or work on their phones without ever looking up and talking to them. I see that often. In fact, I've gotten kudos from some of these schools because I think at the D Scoop, we ended up with like 40 students across 4 schools in our 10 by 10 booth, almost piled in top of each other like a phone booth, doing selfies because we were doing education for the students. I think we got to, as an industry, make sure that we're really rolling out the red carpet for the students that are coming in.
First thing you got to do is when you walk by somewhere and you see that happening, you got to go over and say to the people, excuse me, you have a potential customer here.
You have a potential lifetime customer. You got 50 more years out of that person.
Oh my God. So get this. I'm so happy you said that. 1996, way back in the early days, right? My first Drupa, 25 or 26 years old, last minute decision to go, stayed in Dresden, 2 hours out of Drupa because I couldn't get a room. Miserable train ride, fell asleep every day on the train going back. But it's even in the book that I put out, and too bad for Heidelberg, but I went to the Heidelberg booth, 45 minutes or an hour. I waited at the front and nobody would give me the time of day. No one. And I will tell you, to this day, never, ever, ever did I buy a Heidelberg piece of equipment. Once I entertained them because I bought a company that had Heidelberg and I said, you know what, be mature, see what you can get for the trade-in and blah, blah. Well, they offered me on a trade-in 125 grand. I ended up selling it for 4.25 privately myself. Right. So that was another, they're done because they're only out for them. But imagine that. And I've spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on equipment and I wouldn't see them because they would not see me at 25 years old because they thought I was just some young, dumb, whatever.
30 years later, you're still telling the story. And that exact same story is happening every day, every show that we have here. It's a little frustrating.
I'm going to be walking around Printing United looking for people ignoring people.
I'll do it with you.
Yeah.
Exactly do that. We'll just, grab students and bring them to a booth that cares.
Anybody standing there, it's like, and there's nothing worse than when employees of the same company are talking to themselves the whole time.
Yeah, or sitting in a corner on their phone.
What could they be talking about?
Right. Yeah.
They should be running around just handing out stuff.
When I go to a show, I'm never in the booth. People think I'm probably just out eating or drinking, but it's because I'm out. I'm working the show on the floor. That's my job. That's what I view my role. I handle all of our partnerships. Our partnerships aren't in our booth. I'm not zapping badges to get new business from printers. I'm out and about talking in conjunction with other people. That's what the value of the shows is. So, and now we got new things. Like I'm gonna give a shout out here to Tactful again, because we talked about them before. But when we went to FSEA, we did a live event in an Airbnb the day before the event. So that was kind of a cool way to look at a show as well, with people in the same place doing an independent kind of live event. I don't know if you saw it or not, but that was fun. Super fun.
Yeah, no, I saw part of it. So, I keep bringing up, Gary V or Gary Vanderchuk's name, right? Why? The guy was not a marketer. He was in an online wine business. And then from that learned and, pivoted himself into this marketing guru with a following that's millions and unheard of.
Yeah.
And all the young people are listening to him. So I say to all the old people, do you know who Gary V is? Who? What? I go, well, you better learn. Go find out. Because what is he telling the young people? Don't apologize to anybody for who you are. Don't change who you are. You want something, you go out and you take it and you do it. It's not telling them not to work. I think old people put the spin about young people not wanting to work, which makes me sick.
Amen.
Right? Yeah. Makes me sick.
Right.
First of all, if anybody doesn't like being called a name like motherfucker, asshole, or something, don't be calling anybody else anything like a millennial or a Gen Z or a lazy ass.
Right.
Because it's the same negative to me. Any of those labels are derogatory.
Completely.
Because you're not saying them with a, hey, look at that millennial over there. You go, yeah, look at that bloody millennial over there. Doesn't want to work. And I don't buy it. If we are smarter, which we need to be, we will learn how to better engage with them and turn it to our advantage so that it's to everyone's advantage.
Completely. I mean, I worked 7 days a week, 16 hours a day from the time I was 15 for I don't even know how long. Why in the world do I want to ask my kids and my kids' generation to have to do the same? Is that some kind of sick way of people earn their stripes? I like to think maybe we earned their stripes for them, and they can have a go that is more fair than perhaps we had. I think we need to adapt to current times. It frustrates me, but
So I like to say the best thing I learned from these youngins, right, is that I don't need to work 7 days a week anymore. No one should. We're on this planet for a very short time. Unfortunately, you learn that when people that aren't ready to go leave before their time, makes you think more. But we're on this planet for a short time. I want to do the most I can, get my work done, and piss off for the next 2 days or 3 days and rejuvenate and build up. Because if you're, first of all, if you're going 7 days a week, you're not going to do your job well. You're just going to be exhausted. You're going to be tired and you're going to make mistakes. But you should have enough time off to go do something that lifts you up, that's enjoyable, that gives you peace of mind. I remember when I was working, I don't think I was in a print shop at 5. I think I waited till I was 8. But
Blacker.
no, but what was the line that the old people used to use back then? Well, I paid my dues.
Yeah.
Who fucking came up with that line?
Right.
I paid my dues. Okay, good for you.
Good. Yeah.
And I have to put up with you, so I paid my dues. Right?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Right. I don't understand that mentality whatsoever. I want to leave the world a better place for my kids and my grandkids. If everybody wanted to do that, we'd be in a much better place.
I'm learning from the kids. I'm not trying to impose everything I've done or everything I haven't done. I remember my son said to me once, we're having a conversation, or maybe it was a one-sided conversation, my side. And he's like, we don't think like that. Why would you think that we should think like that? We don't have to think like that. We think, and then he goes through what he's thinking, and I'm saying to myself, don't say it out loud, but it's not wrong. If you take a few minutes and you listen, and again, I'm not going to tell him he's right all the time, because then I'll have to deal with other issues. But there is something that everybody could learn from everybody else something.
Sure. Totally.
Right?
You just got to listen.
So, okay, so forget the print shit. So when you're not printing, what are you doing to take your mind off life?
Oh, geez. Well, you met the bird, but he's more...
Bird.
I spent a lot of time cleaning up walnut shells and bird poop. The new grandbaby. During COVID, I realized I was getting old. So I picked up the guitar. So I learned
You didn't play before?
I did not at all. So my son, my older son, he is a musician, Rollins grad, music major, violin, anything with strings. He tried to teach me a few times a little bit, and I just couldn't.
I would love a violin or a fiddle.
Yeah, he's a
Charlie
concert
Daniels made it look good.
Yeah. Well, then you got to call it a fiddle. But I picked it up with my younger son. Actually, he was like, I don't know, he was in high school. He was going through his junior and senior year during COVID, so we learned it together. So play a little guitar.
Cool.
Short of that, not a lot. I live a pretty boring life here. I got two grown kids that live with us and a grandbaby.
I go to concerts and fish.
I love concerts. We're our next concert up. My youngest and his girlfriend bought me tickets for Father's Day for Rob Zombie.
Cool.
So we'll go see Rob Zombie next month.
Cool. A month ago, I'm in Montreal. My son lives in Toronto. So I went to Toronto with my son and his girlfriend and went to go see Goose.
Nice.
Which was off the charts. Yeah, they were great. And we've been to Dead and Company. And, my son's a fish head and he's a musician also. So all kinds of music. And, that's like a great thing to be in with your kids.
It is.
Different music.
Completely. Yeah, it's been kind of a pivotal part of, their from birth on has been music. That's why Nicholas, my eldest, he fell in love with music. And actually, it was his love of Tool when he was like a tween.
Eric Vessels loves Tool.
He does. I know. I think I've told him this story before, but he got hooked, and that's just he's got that mind that just hears the notes, hears the music, the perfection of the music, and that was, I think, what drove his love of it. He started playing the violin in 4th grade.
It's amazing. When my kid would play guitar, I'd come in the house and he'd be sitting, I don't know what you call it, but he'd be sitting like it'd be dark. He'd have some Japanese animated cartoon running on the TV, and he would have the pendulum going, and he would just be sitting there like just picking strings. And now he's into the technical side of things. And I was like,
metronome.
wow, pretty cool. And hours and hours and hours.
Yeah. See, I don't have the attention span to play for hours. My definition of playing is more, I just go with as much gain in a thrash as possible, and I just
Right.
pretty much just pound power chords
Right.
with headphones on as loud as they go. That's so to answer your question, how do I decompress? Either that, yeah, pretty much just that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, me too. Lot of walking, a lot of hiking. Just like the outdoors, like the nature and the sounds of electronics and sounds of everything else all the time. We just can't get away from everything we do enough.
Yeah,
That's why
what?
the fishing, I get out on the water. I got like maxed out on ADHD. I'm medicated and all that stuff. I bounce off the walls. If you haven't noticed, I probably did 3 miles of bouncing here in the time that we started talking. And then I get out on the water and I could be there for 10 hours and not a peep out of my mouth.
Yeah, so I love to fish. That's why we live where we live. The beaches, the ocean. We've seen everything. We've done like the counting turtle nests and watching sea turtles come up and lay eggs, helping sea turtles back,
That's the best.
rehabbing them. I love fishing, and I have a confession to make with fishing. I've fished most of my life on and off. I've caught, I think, 2 fish in my entire life. Well, like a tile fish, which just
Yummy.
like a gigantic bruise on my thigh, and it really wasn't fishing. It was really just cranking for 30 minutes. And then I think I caught one mahi once when I was out with my wife and a friend. They're bringing in, big monsters. I didn't even know they came that small. The other problem I have, confession here, and if you have worked with me at Sandy Alexander, you probably knew this because I went out with the president boating. I get ridiculously seasick. However, it does not stop me. So I am fishing and vomiting pretty much the entire time. As soon as I can't see the shore, that's it. It's just I don't know why.
I get sick. I do more fly fishing, sight fishing, saltwater flats, otherwise freshwater
Okay.
lakes, bass
I'm good
fishing,
there.
whatever. But when I go out deep sea sometimes, like oh my god, I can get sick 7 out of 10 times, and I just figured out. And I go with the wristband. I go with the thing on the back of the ear. I got every remedy
Yeah.
on me.
Okay.
And the last time I went out, actually with some friends, and I'm just concentrating, like, you're good, you're good, you're good. It's like around 10:30, 11. I'm just sitting there waiting for something to hit so we can get on the line. And my buddy's like, you don't look so good. I'm like, why would you say that to me? And the minute he said it, it just started. So I went to the back, do a little lean over, inhale a little bit of the gas fumes, do
A
a
little chumming.
and then I turned around. I walked back to the front of the boat. I grabbed a bottle of rum, downed a few shots, had a whatever else, and I think I broke the curse.
That's always been my remedy too. It really didn't stop the seasickness, but it did make it more enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if it gets really bad, you can't fix it. You got to get off because you're just.
Yeah.
I've had that, and I didn't want to ruin it for the others. And I'm like, no, I'm going to stick it out. We're good. You guys fish. And my buddies are like, no, you should look in the mirror. We don't want to be with you on a boat. You are not looking
Right.
good at all.
That's always the concern, is ruining everybody else's fun.
Well, it's always about everybody else, right? It can't always be about yourself. When I want it to be about me, I go fishing by myself. I don't have to deal with other people.
Sure. See, if I did that, I'd have a boat, and if I had a boat, my lifespan would probably be greatly shortened because I've got a throttle problem with the boat. I can't be trusted.
So I've got a pretty nice fishing boat, whatever. I got a Ranger 620. I got a 250 Verado on the back.
Oh, you're flying. Yeah.
And but ever since, like when the gas went through the roof, I had to put tape over my gas gauge because I couldn't watch it, and then I wouldn't drive over 4,000 RPMs. Because the minute you hit 4,000 and you go over, you watch the gas gauge.
Yeah.
Go like this, and that boat needs super.
Yeah.
So that was like a little bit of so I've calmed down a little bit. Maybe when gas drops again, I'll go back to, but that's the same reason I had to get rid of a motorcycle, because I had a throttle issue.
That's
Every
me.
stop sign, I was like burning rubber. It was terrible.
All right, so it's not just me.
No, it's a problem.
Yeah, it is.
And I drive a truck, so the truck I have no issue. I don't care to go fast in. If I hit the gas, it's like a delayed. So no rush.
Yeah, I got the family car. I got the family mini SUV.
Yeah, so
it's German made, so I mean, I can have a little fun in it, but I hit that sport mode every now and again.
Yeah, you have to. Just for nothing else, just to raise the heartbeat, right? Give you a
Absolutely.
little bit of excitement. Cool. Wow. We went, that was like a seamless conversation that just went on. Didn't even stop to breathe. So we're gonna wrap it up because we could do another one. Anything you want to leave my 2 million viewers with?
I mean, thank you. I mean,
You're welcome.
I've followed you for a long time. I mean, I love just the open communication in our industry. I think we talked earlier about what's changing, what's new. I think that this is one of the best things that can happen, you know, not just for the existing companies out there, but for the newer companies, for the students, you know, just open dialogue, that there are people out there that care about this industry. It's their life, it's their livelihood, pays the mortgage, but it's also what they care about. So, you know, thank you for evangelizing that. Thanks for inviting me on. And, you know, it's always good.
No, you're welcome 3 times. You know, I honestly, I love the industry. I like all the people, even though some people might think I don't like them just because I go off on where they work or whatever. But that's, you know, entrepreneur versus corporate. I always have to look out for the people's money. And you know, I try to say all the right things all the time. Sometimes I don't, but so what? You know, that's the smaller shoe theory, where smaller shoes easier to take out of your mouth. But this is the best part for me about being able to talk, have conversation, hear things, bring them up, have people, you know, dispute them with me if they want. I'm okay with that. You know, prove me wrong. It's going to be a little hard, but I'm open.
Challenge accepted.
First of all, well, at home I'm always wrong, so when I leave, I have to be right, right? And I think most of us could probably say the same thing. So no, I'm loving this. Anybody out there who's listening, I sure hope you made it to the end and you've listened. If you didn't listen, I'm coming to look for you. But all kidding aside, I want to speak to more people. I don't want to speak to the same people that everyone talks to. I want to talk to hidden people. So if you're one of those hidden people that has something to say, and you know, if you want to come on, we could even put a mask on you if you're shy and you don't want to show your face, right? I think that was called deep throat back then, you know,
Yeah.
when you keep things secret. Exactly. But all kidding aside, I'm open. I want to talk to everybody about anything. If you're the receptionist, if you're the shipper, I want to know, because you two are the most important people in the company. So who people speak to first and what goes out when it's supposed to. If you're a pressman, I'm happy to speak to you. Salespeople, okay, I'll talk to you too. But I'll talk to anybody. If you're a chef in the print company, I'm happy to talk to see what you're making on the paper. But give a call. Otherwise, love the conversation. Jason, thank you again. Everybody else, appreciate you, and we'll keep going. Hey, ink in my veins. Well, I was doing it before. I changed my T-shirt to put on the embellishment thing because you just joined Tactful and XL, and you're doing all that. But the T-shirt I was wearing before this was ink in my veins. I almost wish I love it on. It would have been
in my veins. It's perfect.
Love it, love it. Everybody, love ya. See you soon. Cheers.
Thanks.